he's convinced that barking at you is an efficient way to get you to pay attention to him. So if you turn the tables and you just get up and you do that focus exercise and you don't give him any attention and then he ends up paying attention to you, then it's backfiring on him. It's not working the way it used to work. It used to be a guaranteed attention getter. Now he ends up paying attention to you. He's going to say, well, this isn't working like it used to, and after a while they give it up. I mean, it's not an instant fix, but done consistently over time.
When she does that whimpering, do you refocus? Do you focus, or do you just ignore it and not make it?
Yeah, I mean, whimpering, you know, I think I would ignore that. Barking in my face, that might, yeah, that would get a little old. Now, the way I would handle a correction like that, okay, if she breaks the set, try to give her a quick snap correction as soon as possible, okay? If the first correction doesn't get her back in the set, the second correction you should hold it. Hold it, hold it, hold it. As soon as her butt hits the ground, you release the correction, okay? And after a while, you know, that's like, okay, the sooner I get my butt back down, or even better, maybe I ought to not get up in the first place. And she'll get that, you know.
Well, with the way that pen is that we have, you can open the top first, so when I go to get her out in the morning,
oh, that's
I don't
great.
say a word to her. I just wait, and she'll sit.
Excellent.
Put the collar on.
That's a great idea.
Because I don't say a word to her. I don't say Missy sit or anything. But because she'll stretch and do her little thing.
She just learns. She doesn't sit and get the collar on, she ain't getting out.
Hold out
That's
the
good.
collar, and I'll wait her out, and she'll sit, and then she gets it that, oh, you're putting the collar on.
Beautiful. All right, excellent. Okay, so now that you've had a week of socialization to this focus exercise, now you want to get some real practical use out of it. Get out in the real world and get some real practical use. And the first thing you want to do is use it on your walks, okay? So when you're moving, when you're walking your dog, that front shoulder should never be further forward than your hip, okay? If you're moving, the dog should be focused on and following you. Now, do they need to sniff and pee and do all that dog kind of stuff? Absolutely, okay? But the way I deal with that is I will take a 30-foot long line, 30-foot leash on the walk with me. Roll it up, put it in your pocket, whatever, okay? When you go from point A to point B, you're using that focus technique constantly, turning, 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 keeping the dog. Now, you don't just want to turn when you have to correct the dog. You don't want to just turn when the dog gets ahead of you. You want to occasionally turn when the dog is focused and not correct the dog, so they see both sides of the coin, okay? So they say, oh, okay, when I'm paying attention and you change direction, there's no correction involved, right? Okay, so you don't want to just turn, they have to see both sides. They have to see the positive as well as the negative. And on the walks, unlike in the focus exercise that you did for the past week, if the dog is in position and the dog is paying attention, you can now add a little positive reinforcement. Oh, you're being a good girl, Missy, you know, and add a little positive reinforcement to it. That was just kind of like shock therapy, this not looking at them, not talking to them for that 10 minutes. Wow, you're really acting like a leader, you know. So, but now on the walks, you can give them a little bit of a positive attention, if indeed they deserve it, if they're in position. Okay, so you walk from point A to point B using that focus technique, okay? You get to a field, a park, a schoolyard, someplace where you want to give the dog some free time, okay? Some sniff and pee and be a dog. I mean, they need both. They need structure, they need leadership, but they also need to be dogs. They need to sniff and pee and do all that kind of stuff. So you go from point A to point B using that focus technique. You get to the field, the park. You have the dog sit, put on the 30-foot long line, free. Now the dog has a 60-foot diameter circle to sniff and pee and do all his dog things, okay? When the dog is off doing her thing, you're stationary. You're not moving, okay? I kind of play the lead out keep it loose. Let the dog feel as if she's in control. She can do what she wants to do. This is her free time, her sniff time. So you leave it loose, but not so loose that you can't correct the dog if the need arises. If the dog decides to go after a squirrel or picks up a piece of garbage or whatever they do, okay? You're going to have the ability to correct them. So you play it out, reel it in, keep it loose, let them do their thing, okay? The only time you move is if the dog tests the limits of that 30-foot long line. If the dog gets all the way out to the end of that 30 feet, give a little correction and change direction. Do a little focus maneuver, okay? And what you'll do over the next couple of months is condition the dog to stay within a 30-foot radius of you when they're free. So, you know, even your free time has its parameters, okay? They're always in training. A dog that's in training is always in training. You're always saying, this is how I want you to behave in this situation. So you're conditioning the dog. Eventually, once you see the dog is respecting that boundary, they're not trying to pass that 30-foot limit, they're eventually going to drag the long line around. And that's going to be kind of part of the transition from on lead to off lead, is the dog dragging that long line around, which we'll get into in much more detail on the last lesson. So anyway, so the next couple of months, you're hanging on to it, playing it out, bringing it in, conditioning the dog to stay within that 30-foot radius of you, okay? So when you feel the dog has had sufficient time to do her thing, do his thing, another opportunity arises, okay? Now it's time to go. You're going to say one time, Missy, come, okay? And if she's like, yeah, I'm a little busy right now, you have the ability to reel her in. One command, back it up, one and done, okay? Have her sit, 6-foot leash, focus all the way back home, okay? So you're getting the best of both worlds. The dog is getting that structure, the leadership, but they also get to be a dog, get to do the sniff and the pee and all that fun stuff. And I mean, you can also play ball with the dog on the long line. You know, just get them used to the idea that you're in control no matter where you go. This is the key to having a dog that's not going to run away every time you take him off leash in the future, down the road. Now, you also want to take your walks as an opportunity to condition a couple of responses that could save the dog's life someday. Anytime the dog gets too interested in anything that could potentially stimulate prey drive, the rabbit, the bird, the squirrel, the leaf, the skateboard, the bicycle, anything that moves could potentially stimulate prey drive. So anytime you see the dog focus his attention on whatever, give that little correction and change direction. Sometimes take one step, turn back, sometimes take 5 steps, turn back around. Dog looks at the distraction, correction, turn again. Keep doing that. Eventually, when your dog is reliable enough to take that leash off, which should happen if you go through this process, you could be walking down the street and a squirrel could run right under your dog's nose, and the dog's first reaction is going to be, I'm watching you because every time I look at a squirrel, you go the other way and I get corrected. You've conditioned that response. It's pretty bulletproof if you do it consistently, okay? You know, at this stage of the game, I would not expect a dog to walk down the street just laser focused on you, okay? I mean, they can kind of look around. Not a problem if the dog isn't directly focused on you, but you do want to correct the dog if you see them focused on something specific besides you, especially something that could potentially stimulate that prey drive. You know, every dog is different. Bicycles, skateboards, cars sometimes, you know, you name it, motorcycles. So anything that you see the dog get too interested in, give that correction and change direction. And eventually you will condition the dog to pay attention to you when these different stimuli appear. Okay? All right, so that's how you want to handle your walks. It's training, it's fun for the dog, ball play, whatever, sniff time, it's all there. You have the best of both worlds if you use all these techniques. Another thing I like to do is during this process of training, I like to take the dog someplace unfamiliar to the dog at least once a week during this whole training process, okay? This is how I socialize a dog, okay? Right now, the dogs have enough experience to just do a little bit of focus and some sit in this unfamiliar environment, okay? So you want to expose the dog to all the things that they're going to encounter for the rest of their life. I'll go to Wegmans parking lot. I'll go, just places where there's trucks or trains or just anything that, could frighten the dog or whatever, okay? So you take them and you expose them to all these different stimuli and you work with the dog, okay? You do this focus exercise this week. Today we're going to start a stay exercise that should have, after you leave here, it may not work out well here with the distractions. When you get home, this stay exercise should maintain like a 90-95% success rate all week, okay? If you do it the way I'm going to show you in a nice non-distractive environment for the first week. Then next week, you're going to take this little stay exercise out to your unfamiliar environment, okay? All these exercises that we're going to do with these guys have this very high success rate, this 90-95% success rate. So basically, the way I socialize a dog is to take them to a lot of different places, expose them to a lot of different things, and work with them. They're aware of everything that's going on around them, but they're focused on you, okay? And you're doing your sits and your stays and your downs and your recalls, your come command, and it's going to give you many opportunities to lavish the dog with love and, oh, what a good stay, what a good sit, okay? So you take the dog someplace where they could potentially be a little bit frightened by a truck or trains or things going on around them, but they're paying attention to you and you're upbeat, your body language is animated. You're working with the dog. You have a lot of opportunities to lavish the dog with love and positive reinforcement for the right reasons. See, a lot of times what we do is when a dog is frightened by something, we tend to reassure them. Oh, it's okay. It's okay, buddy. It's just whatever, okay? The dog interprets that reassurance as reinforcement of their fearful behavior. They think you say, oh, I love it when you act like a weenie, okay? And the dog just gets more and more frightened in those situations because you're reinforcing that behavior. By doing the focus exercise, redirecting that attention and doing a sit or a sit-stay and saying, oh, what a good stay, what a good dog, you're being very reassuring, but you're reinforcing something truly positive, the sit, the stay, the down, okay? And building that confidence level up and at the same time, okay? All this, aggressive behavior when they see, that's fear, based in fear, okay? Which is why when I finally get Missy's attention, when she sees Hogarth, okay, I do my focus, I have her sit, and you're the best dog in the world. So I'm being very reassuring to her, but I'm reinforcing the sit, not her aggressive behavior, okay? You see how that works? So this is how I, quote unquote, socialize a dog. I don't let people pet my dogs. I don't, if somebody comes up and says, oh, can he say hello? No. My line always is if somebody wants to come up and pet my dog or have their dog say hi to my dog, I'll tell them this dog is training to be a therapy dog. It's got to learn to blow off the strangers, not pay attention to strangers, okay? It's a nice way of saying, no, you can't pet my dog, because people use terrible body language, okay? People come up and put their face in your dog's face and, Show their teeth. Yeah, show their teeth, absolutely. And then there's always the other dog. Okay, can my dog say hello? Okay, the dog comes, or all of a sudden the dog gets, oh, he's never done that before. Well, now all of a sudden you've just compounded your dog aggression problems because you're making your dog that much more fearful. If you can just get your dog to pay attention to you in the presence of the other dogs and be upbeat, be happy, do some simple obedience exercises, lavish the dog with praise, it will desensitize the dog to the other dogs. They won't feel so threatened by the other dogs after a while, okay? So once a week, try to take them someplace, if you're gonna go up, run up to the supermarket, One person runs into the supermarket, the other person gets out in the parking lot and does some focus and sits and stays and whatever, okay? Great opportunities to be around people. I'll take my dogs to the dog park. Would I ever turn them loose in the dog park? Never, okay? But it's a great opportunity. You have all these dogs running around inside that fenced-in area, and you can work your dog on the outside of the fenced-in area, desensitize the dog, do the sits, the stays, and all, lavish the dog. So take opportunities like that. Another benefit of taking the dog someplace unfamiliar. There is no time that the pack is more intensely focused on the leader of the pack than when the pack is in an unfamiliar environment, okay? Everybody's totally focused on the leader. So taking your dog someplace that he's never been before and getting the dog to focus on and follow you is a very efficient way to shape this perception that you are indeed the leader, okay? So that's the benefits of taking your dog someplace different every week. Do the focus exercise. The focus exercise is also going to be the link that's going to get the dog to respond to your commands in distractive situations, like company coming in the front door, okay? So that's always probably one of the most frequently asked questions. How do I get my dog to behave when company walks through the door, okay? So the way you do it is have one person answer the door while the other person approaches your distraction, corrects and turns. Approaches the distraction, corrects and turns. Until you can approach your distraction, stop, the dog stops behind that line at the tips of your toes, and you get that focused attention. And you're pretty much guaranteed to get the sit at that point if you achieve the focused attention, okay? So that's how you would deal with company. Then, my theory's always been, let the person approach the dog. Don't let the dog approach the person, okay? So you do a little focus, you have the dog sit. Not everybody that comes to your home is going to want to interact with your dog. Some people are going to be scared to death of your dog, okay? Some people just don't like dogs. So it's best to give the person the option of whether or not they want to pet your dog. So you do the focus every time somebody comes in, do it for each other, do it for family, everybody that comes through that door, you do the same thing. You do the focus, you have the dog sit. If the person coming in the door doesn't want to interact with the dog, you give the dog, oh, what a good girl, Missy, what a good boy, Hogarth. You give the positive reinforcement so that, some people, dog comes running up, they're scared to death of the dog. So I think that's the best way to deal with that, is to do your focus, have the dog sit, give the person the option to come and pet the dog. If they don't want to do it, you give the dog the positive reinforcement. Okay? So that's the focus. Anytime you say, gee, how do we deal with this behavior? Do some focus. It's always appropriate. You can do it anytime, and it usually will diffuse most situations where you're not, like you were talking about the dog barking at you for attention. Turn the tables. Get the dog to pay attention to you. Done consistently over time, eventually the dog's going to say, wow, this is just not working like it used to, and they're going to stop this attention-seeking, button-pushing behavior.
Yeah, which is what I think she does something really, she gets hyped up when she gets home.
Sure.
I'm fine, when she's with me, this is how she usually is.
Mm-hmm.
When she gets home, it triggers something for her, whatever that is, I don't know what it is, and she'll get like a little hyped up, like she'll like try to jump on you. And so is that like a good time to do that focus?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And if you want her to be
doing the dog thing where she rolls on her toy or something, I get that, she's being playful or whatever, but when she does inappropriate stuff, she jumped at her, not in a mean way, but just I want your attention way.
It's dominant behavior.
Yeah.
And dogs realize the reason that dogs jump on people is, if I'm going to be anybody in this pack, I want that person coming in the door to give me the attention first. Everyone pays attention to the leader, okay? So I'm pretty much guaranteed to get that person's attention if I go plant 2 feet in their chest. Okay? And dogs learn that very quickly, that this is a good way to guarantee that they'll be the first one to get the attention. So, you know, if you do it for each other and you're consistent, little focus, sit, then everybody gives the dog the attention when the dog's in the sit. Then when somebody strange, when a stranger does come through the door, now don't make the direct eye contact. Okay? You just want to kind of watch her out of the corner of your eye. Now pull her up where you can watch her. Pull her over in front of you. Now pull up and hold it. Hold it. Good. Now release. Now wait about 10 seconds and then give her the positive reinforcement. Then give her the praise. Yeah, they're having a bit of a staring contest here. All right, well, we'll work with them in a minute. Do a little focus, do a little focus. Nice loose leash. Nice loose leash, Renee. Good, good. Now walk right toward your distraction and turn. Quick turnaround. Quick turn. You don't have to correct her if she's paying attention. Walk toward your distraction again. Walk straight. You always want to walk straight to the distraction and then 180 go away from the distraction. There you go. There you go. Okay? Very good. Very good. Excellent. For the next 3 lessons, this lesson, the next lesson, and the lesson after that, excuse me, we're going to be working on all of the components for the long down stay, okay? So, you know, you can pretty much reach your dog's potential if when you're outside of the house, you're keeping the dog focused on and following you, and when you're in the house, and your attention is focused on something besides the dog, your dog is in a long down stay, okay? We probably spend about 80% of our time with our dogs paying attention to something other than our dogs, okay? Which means that most dogs are in control 80% of the time that they're with you, okay? Even though they're not doing anything wrong, they're doing what they want to do, okay? So then when you want them to do something that other 20% of the time, they're usually a little reluctant to do it because their attitude is, well, I'm in control here 80% of the time. Why should I listen to you now, okay? So this downstay is going to be the key to being in control 100% of the time that you're with the dog. So now you're going to be in control when you're eating dinner, when you're cooking dinner, when you're watching TV, when you're on the computer. All those situations where your attention is focused on something besides the dog is in a subordinate posture. And that's the real key to reaching your dog's potential. You know, ultimately, how your dog is going to behave is going to be determined by who the dog perceives as in control, okay? And this goes way beyond training, okay? Just training a dog to sit and stay and down and calm is not the answer. It's not the key. It's once you convince the dog that you are in control, which they interpret as you are the leader of the pack, then it's not so much training that's dictating the dog's behavior, but millions of years of instinct, okay? When you convince your dog that you are indeed in control, you'll be able to take that leash off in an unfamiliar environment, and the dog is going to look at you and say, okay, you're the leader of the pack. Where are we going to go next? They'll follow you everywhere, okay? Whereas a dog that, I don't care how well trained they are, if they don't perceive you as the leader, then when you take that leash off, they're going to go where they want to go and feel it's your responsibility to follow them. Okay, so this goes way beyond training. But the key is to really be in control whenever you're with the dog. And The downstay is how I integrate a dog into family life, okay? You know, until I have a good downstay when I'm eating, when I'm cooking, when I'm on the computer, the dog is in a safe area, a puppy pen, a gated area, a crate, okay? Then, when I have this long downstay, which we'll talk about when to know how to, when to apply it, when I've achieved this long downstay, that's when I integrate the dog into family life, okay? That's when the dog is with you when you're on the computer, when you're eating dinner, when you're cooking dinner. In a downstay, the dog is now showing subordinance to you in those situations. It puts you in control 100% of the time. And that's the key. That is the secret right there. So, what we're going to do over the next couple of weeks is work on all the components to this downstay. There's a simple exercise for everything that they need to know to do a downstay for any length of time in any situation, okay? So what we're going to do tonight is lay the foundation for your stays, okay? What does stay mean? What are you going to do? What do you expect from the dog when you say stay, okay? Now, if you want this to work, I have this laid out in a plan where if you follow this, you will have a downstay for any length of time in any situation, okay? But you don't want to use stay in any other context. In other words, once we start this little exercise and we socialize these guys to what stay means, don't use stay in any other situation unless you're going to do this little exercise. And as time goes by, we're going to do more and more complex exercises, okay? So we're going to socialize them to the idea that when you say stay, that means you're going to leave the dog, but you always come back to the dog to release the dog, okay? You'll never see me tell a dog they're free from a distance. Never release the dog. So eventually, you're outside, you tell your dog to stay at the end of the driveway, you walk across the street. I want the dog to know this is never, ever over until you're back across the street and at the dog's side again, because that's what you do every time you say stay. Okay? You know, at its essence, all this training is just sounds associated with body language, your body language and the dog's body language, okay? So, in this exercise, stay means I'm going to leave, but I'm going to come back. When I get back, I want you right where I left you, okay? To socialize them to this in a very efficient manner, and after a week of socialization, this exercise will transfer to any environment with any kind of distraction. Okay, that's the key. We're just going to go to the end of the leash and back without ever letting go of the leash. We want to have the ability to provide an instant correction this first week. As soon as the dog's butt parts company with the floor, we're going to give them a little correction, okay? So that they learn when you say stay that their butt better stay glued to the floor until you come back and tell them they're free, okay? So we're just going to go to the end of the leash, come back. I'm actually going to go to the end of the leash and tug on the leash. I want the dog to say, I'm not moving because you told me to stay. Okay? I'm going to go to the end of the leash. I'm going to tug on the leash. Then I'm going to go back to the dog, release the dog. It takes 3 seconds. It's a quick little exercise, but it lays a good solid foundation. Okay? Once you get home and you do this, you should have a 90-95% success rate with this exercise all week. Then, when you start doing this in distractive situations, you should maintain that kind of success rate in the distractive situations. All right? Let me borrow Missy, and I'll show you how this should look. Hey, sweet pea. Okay, so one other application for the focus exercise is do it before you do anything else, okay? So if you're going to do a stay, don't attempt to stay until you've achieved the focus, okay? All right, so I start out, do my little focus exercise. That's what I want. Missy, sit. Good sit. That was a good sit. Now, this is totally counterintuitive, the way I'm going to do this. But when I tell Missy to stay, I'm actually going to be gently pulling her toward me. Okay? You want to have some pressure in that collar. When you, after a week of socialization, when you start doing this in Wegmans parking lot, outside the dog park, you want to have a little bit of pressure in that collar to remind the dog that you are indeed in control during this first week, during this socialization phase, okay? So you want to get the dog used to this idea in your non-distractive environment. So the first thing I do is put pressure in the collar. A little bit. Not enough to correct the dog, but enough to remind them that I could if she screws up, okay? Then I drop the excess lead. Now, I'm going to use very powerful body language, okay? When I tell the dog to stay, I'm going to stand up straight in front of her. You want to be square in front of the dog. If you're turned a little bit, you're not going to get the desired effect from the body language. This is very dominant body language. They really don't want to come to you when you're in this posture. Hand signal, like a traffic cop. Verbal command, Missy, stay. Now watch how I handle the leash. So I keep that pressure in the leash. I want to be able to go to the end of the leash, actually tug on the leash, okay? If she gets up, she gets an instant correction, and she goes right back to the same exact spot. Stay. I want to be able to go to the end of the leash, tug on the leash, and have her resist that tug. Now I'm going to go back to her with a tight leash. I'm going to wait about 3 seconds in the heel position. Free, Missy. What a good stay. That was a good stay. That's a good pup right there. Yeah. That was a good stay, Missy. The reason for the 3-second delay, because they're so in tune with body language. If you say stay and you go out to the end of the leash, you come right back and say, oh, what a good girl. She's going to start anticipating the release every time you walk back to her. So that's why we do that. There's other things we're going to do to break that association, but this little 3-second delay is a good start, okay? So, she had 2 very different experiences. I said stay, she got up, boom, instant correction, started over. I said stay, I went to the end of the leash, I tugged on the leash. And she said, oh, maybe this time I better not get up. Then I went back and said, that's it, good girl, what a good pup. Oh, okay, when I stay here, you come back and love me. If I get up, you're going to correct me and start over. That's how we lay a good foundation for stay. I leave, I come back, you don't move, you get love, you move, you get a correction, we start all over again. Free girl. I'll do it again. Missy, set. Stay. Tight lead going back. Back to the heel position, wait 3 seconds. Free, Missy. What a good stay, sweetheart. What a good pup. That was a good stay. Are you a good girl? Are you a good little girl? Do it again. Missy, set. Good sit. That was a good sit. Tight lead. Toss the excess. Square up in front. Hand signal. Verbal command. Stay. Tight lead going back. Back to the heel position. Wait 3 seconds. Free girl. What a good stay, miss. Oh, what a pup, huh? What a good dog. You are a good puppy, huh? Not too shabby. Let me try Hogarth. Oh, yeah. Looking good. Nice focus, mister. That was nice focus. Tight lead. Drop the excess. Square up in front of him. See how he kind of got a little squirmy when I did that? Hogarth. Stay. 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 Tug, tug. Back to him with a tight leash. Back in the heel position, wait 3 seconds. Free boy, what a pup. What a stat. Oh, are you a good boy? Are you a good little boy? You are a sweet puppy. You are a sweet puppy, huh? Free. Don't be tentative. Like a lot of times people are like, now stay, you know, and the dog's like, what's wrong, okay? Be confident. If the dog breaks it, no big deal. Correct them and start over, okay? Just do it quickly, do it, you know, be confident and look happy. A lot of times they read our facial expressions and we're like, stay. We look so serious and they're like, oh, what's wrong? You know, put on a happy face. Just be confident. Who cares if the dog breaks it? That's how they learn. All right, let me do it again. Hogarth, sit. Good boy. Tight lead. Square up. Hogarth, stay. 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 See, now he's just kind of testing. Stay. See what he can get away with. Which is nothing. Tight knee going back. 3 seconds. Free Hogarth. What a good stay, bud. What a good boy. All right, one more time. Come on. Free. Sit. Good boy. Stay. Free. Good stay, buddy. That was a good boy. Okay? It's a good foundation. You want to try it, Renee? Good. Good girl. Tight lead. Drop the excess. Hand signal. Back with a tight lead. Correct her. Put her right back. Good. Tight lead. Stay. Good. Back to her with a tight lead. Back to the heel position. Wait about 3 seconds. Tell her she's free and love her up. What a good puppy. That was excellent. Want to give it a shot? Good, nice. Tight lead, drop the excess. Square up in front of her, tell her to stay. Back away with a tight lead. Back to her with a tight lead. Back to the heel position, wait about 3 seconds. Tell her she's free and love her up. See, this lays a good foundation. This gets the concept across very efficiently with a lot of love, very few corrections, and it transfers to any situation after a week of socialization. Want to try it, Rich? You're going to do it again, buddy. That was very good. Good. Tight lead, square up in front of them, hand signal, stay. A little smoother lead handling. Just let that lead slide through your hands. Pull them toward you, stay. Good. Back to him with a tight leash. Back to the heel position, wait about 3 seconds. Tell him he's free and love him up. That was excellent. Okay, so this is a very efficient way to lay the foundation for our stays, okay? You're going to leave, you're going to come back, the dog doesn't move, they get love and positive reinforcement, they move, they get a correction, they start over. You do this a few times, by tomorrow you'll have a 90-95% success rate with it, okay? So you do this all week. Next week, we're going to talk about taking this out into the real world. Okay, this week you do it with no distractions. Next week you're going to take this exercise out into the real world, and we're going to do a couple of more complex stays next week, and we're also going to start the down exercise. And then on the 4th lesson or the 5th lesson, we're going to put it all together, and I'm going to show you 5 simple exercises that are going to socialize these guys to everything they need to know to do a down stay for any length of time in any situation. 5, and they're all as simple and successful as the one you just did right here. Everybody did good. Good job. All right?
I think like the anxiety piece seems to disappear a lot quicker with the dog.
Oh, absolutely.
Not even just the rejection, like
Absolutely.
sad.
Just working with her and loving her and being upbeat. You know, before, when Missy would encounter another dog, you would get nervous. You'd get stressed out over her behavior, okay? Missy says, wow, every time we see another dog, these guys get stressed out. I better protect them. Not realizing you were stressing over her behavior, not that, you see, but she's making the association. It happens every time you see another dog. So now you know how to deal with it. You're more relaxed. You're more in control. There's an old saying, telegraphs down the leash. You know, if you're relaxed and you're happy, it's going to make the dog that much more relaxed and happy. It just snowballs. Once we start getting anxious about our dog's behavior, that anxiety makes the dog that much worse.
For her to go like right to that with the dog that much closer, because we were a little bit further away last week.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Just to kind of keep the peace.
It's only going to get better. All right, so this week, take your focus and your sit, go for walks, go to a new environment, okay? And practice your stay maybe 4 or 5 times per day a piece. Do that little stay exercise throughout the day, okay? You know, you get this urge to give your dog some affection, do a little focus, do a stay, and then give her the affection. Okay? We want her to know that this is how she gets food. This is how she gets love. She earns it from you. She works for it. Okay? Good job, everyone.